Easy guys, it's Myth. Today I wanted to run over something that's it's important, but it's important not to get yourself bogged down by it as well, and that's drum phase alignment. Often you get drums and you layer hits and they'll sound weird when you layer them together, or something might disappear, they might lose low end, they might lose top end, they might sound like very peculiar. That's probably because the phase alignment is out. You can lose, if you're layering kicks, you can lose power in them. They can blow up. They can be like extra farty and weird. So I just wanted to run over a couple ways of aligning them. But what I will say is, generally, don't get yourself into like a hole of like worrying about the alignments and stuff. If it sounds good, then it is good as a general rule. So the first thing we'll look into is these two kicks I've got here. There's one kick that's just out of Addictive Drums and one out of the sample pack. Now, when you're looking at phase alignment, you want to look actually at the waveforms themselves. So you see as a kick waveform, it's quite long, simple waveform. So you want them to try and line them up so that they move with each other. So if you're taking two hits, I also say try and avoid layering where possible in tunes, or keep it as simple as possible, like one layer, two layers. If you get into like mental layers, you can just cause lots of phasing problems basically. So what I've done here is these have got different start points, so you can move them by the start point so that they're trying to move together. Obviously, in this case, like one is a quicker, higher moving wave at the start. So it's kind of like, look, this one's in line, roughly in line. You got to kind of just try and get the start and then sort of see how it sounds. But I deduced that by putting this one here, and that it sounded the best, basically. So if I do what it sounds like, and then if I moved it out of the way so that it was not in phase again, I mean, it's barely any difference, but you can tell if it's really out of phase. It will sound, see the bottom end has gone now? You can sort of hear the difference of how they sound. There's parts of the sound that will be lost, but you can just move the sound. That's one way of just trying to do it. There's also like you can get phase alignment viewers and stuff like that to see whether stuff's in phase or not. But it's kind of difficult to tell because, like I say, if it sounds good, then it kind of is good. Another one is I've got some snares here. They've got a dubhead snare, and then one I made in Addictive Drums. Big up dubhead. Go and get that sample pack. It's good. It's available on the Lab Samples website. So I've got that snare. Now together, this is what they sounded like. But to get them into phase, I use a little trick up here, which is a channel delay. This isn't like delay like as an effect, like or something like that. This is just literally delaying the channel, so actually changing the time at which the audio is triggered when you press play. And now this is pretty much the best way, I think, to kind of sort your phase alignment, because you can just literally move it one tick at a time and just see. So if we put this out of phase, like by quite far, so, and then I put it back to where I had it. Oh, I've got the start of this cut off. See that again, the kind of impact of the hit gets lost, and also the very start, like the very hit at the front of the is where like this just like clean and nice. It sounds like one hit rather than. Sounds pretty good there as well. This is what I mean. You can get it sort of it's basically just what sounds good. This is why I think it's more suitable to use the delay on here, because you can literally just flick through and be like, right, that sounds good now, move on, rather than worrying about what, like if you have a phase meter and stuff like that, that's like worrying about where your phase is on individual hits. I think you just get bogged down by it and then you lose your creativity and stuff. So that's just something to bear in mind. And you literally just like fiddle through, and then when you've if you imagine that what I was saying with the layers, if you had loads of layers and you're trying to flick through all of these phases to try and make sure they're all in phase, it's going to be a nightmare. This is also really handy for if you've got a break. If you were to have a drum break like that you've sampled, like a funk break, and you were trying to get something to layer in with it, like a snare, you could just sit there, run the break, and just gradually move this down and down and down until it's like in phase. Yeah, so that's just something to bear in mind. So it's either check the waveforms, try and get them to line up, or flick your, I know all DAWs, I think Ableton does this, I think most DAWs have this delay, channel delay, and just move them into phase. Like I say, just something to bear in mind. But there you go, that's that one. Big ups.